And yes, it is time for the political party scoopers. Jeff Link, Craig Robinson joining us right now. And it's one of these things, Jackie, we could spin the wheel as to where we're going to start.
Well, I can't wait until we actually start talking about things that matter when it comes to politics. Right now, we're just in another...
It's not going to happen.
another tease fight over, he said this, she said that.
You're a liar.
Okay. As opposed to actually dealing with anything that's really crucial to our lives right now. But that's what's hitting the headlines, and that's, of course, Trump and Clinton.
Well, even when we have a policy discussion, like on the Republican side, where you have a debate on immigration between multiple candidates on what is Ted Cruz's position, you can't get a straight answer out of it anyway. I mean, it's shocking to me. So even if when we do talk about issues, they're discussed in a way that if it makes my head spin, imagine what it makes someone, just a casual voter, caucus goer.
Someone just trying to gather some information.
That's not living this day in and day out, and you're watching this in a debate, and you got to be like, I don't know what to believe. And that's a victory for the person whose policy is being scrutinized. And so even when we talk policy, we're not really getting clear distinctions between people because politicians want to have it both ways.
Oh, really quickly, the thing I'm interested in knowing from you guys this morning is who do you think is going to get Lindsey Graham's votes?
All four of them?
Well, yes, but those are four important votes. Yes. Who do you think he's going to maybe endorse, or who do you think they're going to naturally gravitate to?
Well, you have this morning, Jeb is announcing that he has picked up the support of Graham's South Carolina chairman and some of that infrastructure.
Okay.
I don't think it does anything for Jeb or for anyone else. I do think, though, that there's a different angle to look at this. When I see the field shrink, I think that what I look at is that Iowans need to start putting some pressure on Fox News and the RNC to say, hey, when we have our debate in Iowa, it needs to be different. And so now that the field's a little bit smaller, I think Iowans need to start saying, look, we want Mike Huckabee on the debate stage. We want Rick Santorum on the debate stage. And that's not necessarily good for someone like Ted Cruz. It's not really good for someone like Donald Trump. It's not good for Ben Carson. But I think if you
or Bush.
I mean, if you want a really good debate, put those past two caucus winners on it. And I think you can make the argument and you can kind of finagle it to make it work. And you would have an interesting debate that would really press out where people stand on issues. You know, Trump is dominating the discussion on immigration. Put Rick Santorum on the stage. It's going to be a different conversation.
They should get champions provisionals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like the Masters. If you won it before, guess what? Even if you suck, you get to tee off the next year.
But it's still a full group, a stage of people. I doubt even if they were on the stage.
I
don't have a problem with 10 people on the stage.
I don't think they get a word in edgewise. Especially when you still have Trump in the middle and all those guys just spouting off the stuff that they spout.
I agree, but I think that the dynamic would change, I think, especially with the Santorum on the debate stage, where he's going to fight for his time. And fight for it to talk about issues, not the, hey, I really want the Saturday Night Live stuff where they had like little Jeb Bush, you know, fighting for, well, I want to take on Donald Trump on this issue. That's Bush's problem. He has to rise above it, and he hasn't been able to.
I mean, they're all sort of falling for the Trump. You know, the Trump theory here is just get in the middle of attention and stay there.
Right.
And what all these Republican debates have turned into is really just everyone trying to pick on Donald Trump, and he loves it.
It's perfect for him.
Because he says, go ahead and attack me.
Give me the attention.
Because then I'm going to have, you know, some quick line back or throw some insult or a facial expression, and then he's the center of attention.
But as much as the things that come out of his mouth make no sense or are terrible impersonations or are making fun of people, there are certain things that he says that are really scaring me, like what he's recently said about Putin. I'm like, let's time out and back up here a little bit, because you don't know what you're talking about.
And the Putin thing is a really good point, because he says, look, I like the fact that he likes me, right? That's what Trump says.
Right.
Well, Mitt Romney said that Putin is our biggest national security threat. That was just 4 years ago. Now, you can't have the Republican nominee in one cycle saying that Putin is our biggest national security threat. And oh, by the way, after the election, he said, "See, I told you," when Russia made their move on Ukraine.
This is where words matter, I think, and this is where I think Trump really struggles, because I think it'd be different if he would say, "You know what? I think it's good that he would respect me." That's different than saying, "Well, I think it's great that he likes me." I mean, it's like he's coming off as it's good that he be chummy with Putin, which is stupid.
Right.
But if he said, "Look, the American president should be respected by Russia, the current president isn't," that's a whole different dynamic. That I just see opportunities where Trump swings and misses, and I think if he would take this whole thing more seriously, I think what Putin did, what he said about Trump, you could actually spin that to your advantage as any Republican candidate. But again, I mean, Trump seems to go for the, I don't even know what he's swinging at.
Low-hanging fruit.
It ain't even low-hanging fruit.
It's on the ground.
Well, what's the word he said the other day?
I'm not saying the word.
You're not saying the word?
I don't think, can we say it?
I don't know.
I don't
well,
think
he
we
said
can.
it. I don't know if a presidential candidate can
But
say
again,
it.
that's
We
what we're all
probably can.
talking about, and it dominates the news, and that's good for Donald Trump.
Now, on the Democratic side, latest things that are going on the Democratic side.
So we had the debate that nobody watched on
Right.
Saturday night.
Right.
I watched part of it.
More people tuned in to Bernie Sanders not being allowed into the voter network from the DNC. That whole scandal was
Yeah,
more
the
interesting
database.
than the debate.
Yeah, I mean, when they're debating about who had access to a database, you know it's a problem. So we had the debate on Saturday night that, really didn't get much attention. They did cover some national security issues for the first time. The Democrats hadn't really talked about those issues in the past. And then Secretary Clinton's back in the state today. Again, as a sign of a difference in her campaign this time than last time, she's starting this morning in Keota, Iowa, and then going to Fairfield, and then I think Bettendorf, and traveling with the Vilsacs. So it's a really smart
move on her part.
trip for the Clinton campaign.
When she's involving her husband at the beginning of the year. He's going to start campaigning with her, and then she has another grandchild on the way.
Yeah,
so I think she's using the whole family to.
Yeah, I think, and they're
get
even
attention.
expanding the family.
Yeah.
And she did have a good line in the debate, if you would have watched any part of it. The closing line,
Yes.
"May the force be with you."
Yes.
is what she
No,
said.
it was
That
great.
was a good speechwriter.
I actually did watch the whole debate. I was one of like 47.
You have to.
Is there anything we can do as a public, because we need to be wrapping up here, for the Republican debate? Can we reach out to Fox? I know we can't change that, but if enough people go after them and say, hey,
you can put pressure
get all
on
these
news
people on
organizations.
social
to
media
say,
wise?
absolutely.
on the stage, and can we go after the
just
Democrats and
shake
say,
the tree.
please don't have a debate on Saturday, for Pete's sake?
They're all scheduled on Saturday nights.
Now they put it on Sunday
The
night.
next one goes up against 2 NFL playoff teams on a Saturday. Great idea.
So much for that.
I don't.
But the best news
Republican
yet, we
debate
have
over
3 days of no politicians in the state coming up.
Looking forward to it.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
to everybody.
Christmas,
Well,
guys.
guys, have a good Christmas. Thank you
Yep.
so much for
You
being
too.
here.